Okay guys, so in this video, I'm going to show you how I went from this pile of crap to some of the nice beads I've been doing late last week and early this week. There's probably half a dozen things that I've learned in the last month since I've had my Yeswelder here. And this morning I found I can weld 1/2 inch aluminum. So I think you're going to want to see what I might have to show you. There's a few things that put me over and allowed me to do some nice beads like this edge weld here, like that fillet weld, and then some of these welds here on this piece. So stick around, that's what this video is going to be about. I'm going to show you how to go from total crap to, hey, I'm actually welding now. Let's take a look. Okay guys, so how do we go from some of the crap welds that I started out doing to what you see here, like this nice weld along here, this weld on 1/2 inch, I laid down some pretty good beads, and then this is 3/16 plate. Also, you know, I did some really good welds on this one, some really righteous beads, as I like to call them. And so there's a few tricks that I've discovered. So full disclosure, Yeswelder hooked me up with this TIG-200P-ACDC-Pro about a month ago. And I couldn't weld for beans, we know, to weld aluminum. I've always wanted to weld aluminum, but couldn't do it. So here's the first tip. The flow gauge that goes on your argon tank, I didn't realize there was a carbon monoxide scale and an argon scale. Watch out for that one. I don't think that messed me up so much, but just be aware of that one. The welder itself performs really well. I've got no issues with it whatsoever. The Euro style torch handle, you'll see a lot of the pros using the CK torches, they're a lot slimmer than this, but this one is a little beefier. It's got the switch built right into the handle. So that can be good when you're starting out, but this machine came with the pedal, so I decided to learn the pedal. And I mean, once you learn the pedal, you know, I don't know how I'd go away from it now, but because if you use the switch and you set your amperage to 140, and as soon as you turn it on, it's at 140. So the only way you can vary the temperature is to move along faster. I think that's a lot harder to do than to get used to the pedal. I mean, I've been welding every day, every other day for an hour, half an hour, 40 minutes, whenever I can find some time, and to get myself to this point. Okay, so ABC, always be comfortable. Here's what I was doing initially. I was doing this kind of thing, having the torch wobble all over the place. And now what I do is I take a length of the torch, I sit it in my lap like this, and then I rest my hand right on my welding table here, which is a 10 by 10 piece of steel. And then I can just go and I can move along like this. And that is how I went from crap to pure gold. Okay, that's one of the main things. So I guess that's item number 2. Item number 3, and I'm not being paid to promote Yeswelder, but I bought this pack, I think for about 40 bucks, and it's a gas kit. So it's a stubby gas kit. So it comes with all your tips are stubby, like 5, 6, 7, 8, and they give you the collets and the gas tips. And so the torch tips are clear. And for someone that's just learning, I found that to be invaluable because you can see what you're doing so much better with that glass tip. Just don't use the ACDC pulse mode because you'll be blinded by it, okay? But so investing a couple of bucks in this stubby gas kit, and I'll put a link in the description for you, I found that to be a huge help. That was part of what I did late last week to get me to this sort of threshold point here now. Another thing I did early on was I just went and bought a proper grinder for like 40 bucks. You get this whole thing, it's like a Dremel. It has, you just stick your tungsten in here, pick the angle, there's 15, there's 20, 30. I've been using a 30-degree angle, and I just took the whole pack of 2% lanthanated 3/32 tungstens, and I put a tip on both ends of about 4 or 5 of them. And then when you start welding, you don't have to stop. You can just swap out your tungsten, and you know, you can keep moving right along. Okay, another thing that I did just late last week actually, and that is I bought one of these things. This is your torch holder, and it's so handy because when you're first starting out, you don't know what to do with your torch. You know, I was fumbling around, I was sticking it in the desk here like this, which worked in a pinch, but I'm sure over time that would break the back end of this. You know, do yourself a big favor, pick up one of these $10 torch holders. They're magnetized. You can stick them on the top of your welder, and then you don't have to worry about it because you'll be constantly, you know, stopping and starting your welding, and you need some place to be that's comfortable to put that torch. So that's another little thing that I did. Okay, so let me give you one example. Okay, so this is 3/16 aluminum, you know, straightforward stuff. I cleaned it all up with acetone. And to run a bead here, I would typically set the welder at 140 amps. And when I'm starting out, you know, I hit it pretty hard to get the puddle that I'm looking for. Once I've got the puddle, I can use the pedal and back off a little bit as I go along. Because the thing that you run into is when you're beginning, you go along, so you can see here, there's way too much heat in this piece here, and then it just melts out at the end. So as you come to the end of your weld, you're going to back off the pedal, drop the heat down. And so as you get better with the pedal, you'll be able to do that. You'll be able to, so you can see right here, I stopped and then started again. And once you get the hang of it, I mean, and that's what we're trying to get you to, that I've just achieved, nirvana, if you will, you'll be able to stop and start and you know, go backwards and forwards and do all kinds of fancy stuff like that. But the biggest thing I think that, you know, just put me over the edge was the simple getting comfortable with the torch. And with this particular torch, you know, I thought about, you know, could I go out and buy a CK torch? But I shouldn't have to. I should be able to do a good job with this one. And so it's really just a matter of, you know, let's say I was going to weld the top of this piece here, I would be in this position here. And as a matter of fact, the second that you go from holding your torch like this to holding your torch like this is when you'll understand why you might need a TIG finger. I've got 2 of them on the way here from Amazon this afternoon. Because you're closer to the torch like this, and especially when you're welding on 1/2 inch at 200 amps, you'll feel the heat. So I found that, you know, welding these beads, I went about halfway, then I had to stop. It just got too damn hot, and then I picked it up and went across. And what you can see here is that when you start out, I didn't get off to the greatest start, but I did okay. And then I stopped, and when I came back, because the metal's already heated up, you've got to back down the heat a little bit. Otherwise, you get deeper penetration and your weld spreads out a little bit. So, you know, little things like that, you'll learn as you go along. But, and again, look at me here, right? Constantly back and forth with the torch. So that little holder is invaluable. So if you go online looking for help with your TIG welding, you're gonna find, you know, you'll understand why I'm welding beads on top of beads on top of beads, because there's no shortcut for seat time or helmet time or whatever you want to call it. So, you know, that's a really nice weld there. And you can see here, the same on the same inch, 1/2 inch block of aluminum, started out a little too hot here, went to there, restarted it, went along and finished it. So, and then, so I was really happy that I can weld. So this is a piece left over from a camera stand that I built years ago. And I was able to put down some beads here. This one's a bit of a mess. I did this at the beginning of recording this video. I guess it must have been the pressure of you guys watching me or something, I don't know. But yeah, so, you know, just to give you another example here. So this is 3/16 plate. If you're going to do a fillet weld like this on the top, you'll find that you need a little bit more heat. I think I hit it right off at about 160 amps and then just backed it off once it started to flow, and didn't do too bad till the end there. I think I messed it up a little bit there, but not too bad. Most of the shows I've seen, like the videos, they're welding with 1/8 inch coupons, 2 inches by 4 inches. This is 3/16, you know, I'm just using what I have. Now, when I started having success last week, this is 3/16 plate also. I took a shot at doing a fillet weld and it didn't turn out too bad. And then I came back this morning and went over it and was able to make it look like some proper beads. But you can see here, once you get it, And when I say get it, again, I'll go back to, you know, my stick out on this one is less than 1/4 of an inch. Hold your torch. Having the hose in your lap like this takes the pressure off. It makes you really comfortable. And then if I'm welding something like this, I would probably set it up, you know, like this. Actually, I think what I did was, let me just show you here. I just use this little vise and stick this in like so. And then I can just buzz along like this. I can move this out of the way. And just keep going back over and practicing your beads. So there. That fillet weld I was really happy with when I did that one. And then you'll find what you can do is some of your older welds that you've messed up, you can actually go back over them and make them look even prettier. So you can keep going back. And one of the guys, one of the welding teachers, what he does, he suggests for beginning TIG welders with aluminum is, you know, run your beads on something like this, go back and forth, and then switch over to DC and do some steel and lay some beads. And I haven't done that much steel yet. I've done a little bit. I'm trying, you know, wanted to get my aluminum down, but you know, these are the little things that help to me. So the gauge, make sure you're on the argon setting. You know, make it easy for yourself to grind your tungstens. Do a bunch of them, get it out of the way. So once you start going, if you mess one up, you can just swap it out right away. I would say definitely go ahead and get yourself a stubby gas torch. And the stubby gas torch is the same size. I started out with the number 5 that came with the Yeswelder, and then I just put the number 5 glass tip on here, and easy peasy, very straightforward to put it on. And then it's just practice, practice, practice. So I hope that some of those settings have helped you. If you have questions, I mean, chime in, but like I say, I'm not an expert. I'm just trying to show you guys. Oh, and one more thing that I didn't mention. You'll notice that my aluminum filler rod is 3/32, and you know, I bought like 20 pounders, so they come this long. I wipe them down with acetone before I start welding, and then I cut them in half, so they're a more easier to handle length. I haven't sorted out, you know, this, how to feed this stuff yet. I typically just hold it steady and then dab it and dab it and dab it. And the only problem with that is that as you go along, if you're doing a longer fillet welds, you'll have to stop at some point, either because of the heat or because your rod's getting too short and it's getting hot or what have you. But eventually, that's the next thing that I want to master, is being able to feed this. But it's pretty tricky to do. I found so far it's easier to just, you know, dab it and just move it this way as I'm dabbing. And it seems to work okay for me. So, okay guys, so late yesterday, I received this nice little box from Xinhan, from Amazon, and this is basically their auto parts manufacturer, but they make welding stuff. And I got a couple of TIG fingers. This one, the small one, and quite a bit larger one. This one looks pretty robust, holy. So I'm gonna test them out on this piece of 1/2 inch aluminum here. I did a so-so bead here yesterday. I'm just gonna go right down beside it. We'll see how I make out. And we'll see if the TIG fingers are going to be a huge benefit. I'll know right away because I'll either be able to weld from right to left without stopping, or I won't be able to. So let's have a look. So I'm just going to test out, this is how this thing slides on. It's just a heat shield. Gives you an extra layer of protection on your 2 fingers there. So I'll try the small one first, and then I'll try the large one, and hopefully I get a good result. So I won't show you the welding because I don't have a shield to darken it down enough so you can watch me, but I'll give it a shot and then I'll show you the results. Okay, the results are in. So I started out, this is my first weld of the day, first weld of the morning, so forgive me. I got a little bit of contamination in here, not quite as nice as I would have liked, but I whacked it on right at 200 amps and, you know, came across, and then it got quite a bit hot here. I kind of lost control of it here, a little bit wider weld, but you know, for me, that's pretty damn good. So then, because, you know, I knew I had too much heat here, I backed it down to 180 amps, and then I jumped right in and did a pretty decent weld all the way across. And that was with either one of them. So this one goes on 2 fingers, and it fits over your glove. And the thing I found with this one was, you know, these 2 fingers are okay, and then this one starts to get hot. So the bigger one with the 3 fingers, I was able to buzz right across and no issues whatsoever. So I was pretty happy with that. And so I'll put a link to this kit, but it's called Xinhan TIG finger. And I'll put a link in the description for you, but something you might want to look into. But the proof is in the pudding. I was able to weld right across there without stopping, without interrupting the weld. So hey, so far so good. And so just as an aside, I'm going to put a link in the description for you to the video of the guy that I watched. It's basically, I think it's TFS Fabrication Series, and he gives you 5 exercises to do on, you know, 2x4 inch coupons. But the difference is this guy gives you right down to the details. You know, your flow gauge should be set here. Your amperage should be set here. If you're going to tack weld, it's going to be a fusion weld. Here's exactly how to do it. And after I watched that video, it was just a light bulb moment. The light bulb came on, and I've been able to get decent results here. I've got a long way to go. I'm going to keep going, mind you. Like, don't, you know, this is, I'm not saying that I'm an expert now. There's no way, far from it. But, you know, to just get yourself over the hump and doing decent welds. And I mean, again, the biggest thing for me was the way you hold the torch like this, and resting your hand and being able to slide it across. That keeps the height of the torch uniform. You've got that 10-degree slant on it, you know, and you can push it across. And so once you sort of cotton on to that, and it won't matter whether you're using the old style tips or like the solid tips or the glass tips. The glass tips have the glass, I forget what you call it there, but it just diffuses the gas a little better. Seems to be giving me a better result. So I digress. Let's get on with the rest of the video. Okay guys, so I thought I would do one final bead for you, and I've got the torch set at 160 amps, and I'm on 3/16 coupons. And let's give it a shot. We'll see how we make out. Okay. Okay. Not too shabby, I don't think. So, if I can do it, anyone can do it.